All right, guys, today we are sitting on with a coach who doesn't just hand out meal plans and macros, he hands out perspective. He's the founder of the 5 Elements Coaching, precision nutrition writer, and also the host of the 5 Elements podcast. His approach is equal parts science, empathy, meaning he can break down the latest nutrition research and still remind you that enjoying a slice of pizza won't ruin your life. And if you've ever seen his Instagram, you know his videos hit harder than any SNL skit on a good night. He's been helping people cut through the noise of fad diets and fitness quick fixes, and instead focus on what actually lasts: sustainability, balance, and self-respect. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dylan Da Costa.
Stronger, harder, faster, healthier, better.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. So you wanted, what's it called? Negroni?
A Negroni.
All right. I've never had a Negroni before.
this
So
your
this is
first
like
time?
a first, guys.
This is like,
Cheers.
This will split the room.
Oh, yeah?
You're either gonna hate it or love it. There's not many like
Never felt
neutral Negroni fans
I've
out
never
there.
felt so nervous in my life.
Yeah.
He's already flipping it.
Aaron's already chugging it back.
This is my coffee.
Oh, okay. So cheers, brother.
Let's go.
Cheers, guys. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Okay, so
It's 100% not lying. It's not bad. It's weird. It's sweet, but has a bite.
yeah, it tastes like sweet perfume with
Yeah.
alcohol.
With
Yeah.
alcohol.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's
Not
just
bad.
Yeah. It can really get you, but in my defense, you did buy a Negroni in a bottle.
yes,
Calls it that.
So
100%,
for any
100%,
listeners
100%.
never had a Negroni, if you buy it in a bottle for your first one, that's not going to be the true experience of having
Okay.
a Negroni.
Fair enough.
But in your defense, you did peel an orange and put that in there, so
and
that matters too.
And twist.
And twisted,
twisting.
yes,
Okay.
which you definitely remembered to do.
Nobody told me to do that. That's for sure. I guess so. The first thing I wanted to go through is, I guess, the beginning. When did you get into fitness? Did you kind of fall into that trap of like in high school, like arm day every day, hitting Purple K and creatine?
Yeah, I mean,
Were you always a fit kid?
no, not at all. Actually.
Okay.
I can't believe you just said Purple K though.
You remember Purple
You
K?
put me in a time machine with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I took Purple K too.
Yeah, I really thought it was steroids back in the day. Like
think we all
remember
did.
I took it and I placeboed myself to such a degree that I was like, I am a superhero
Yeah.
from these pills.
Yeah.
And I thought they were truly different than just taking creatine monohydrate.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I learned that they weren't anything better that it kind of killed the whole effect I was getting from
Yeah.
it. But the power of a placebo is strong. And
a
my
real
first
thing.
experience was definitely Purple K.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. So were you a fit kid?
No, not at all. I was I was an athletic kid always. But I remember the summer I went into grade 3, I think I gained like 30 pounds. Which on a grade 2's body is actually like a lot of weight.
Grade 2, buddy.
Like-
yeah. It's
I know a
hilarious.
lot of us did that in COVID for fun.
Yeah.
But on a grade 2 frame, that's quite a lot. And I remember my weapon of choice was just like Lay's potato chips. Remember those Mark
Weapon of
Messier
choice.
ads? You can't just have one.
Yeah.
Like I really fell for that, and I proved him right that you can't just have one.
Yeah.
I can have one bag, but not just one chip.
Yeah.
And so I remember I gained a lot of weight going into grade 3, and then I came back, and I never really thought about my body once. Like grade 2-year-old boy, like I mean, what grade is that? What age is that?
Stacey, what age is that?
Grade
2?
2, 8.
Nice, that's teacher math right there. And so then I came back to school, and I was aware of my body for the first time, and I was like, oh, I felt very self-conscious about it. And from that point on, from basically grade 3 to grade 8, I had struggled with my weight quite a bit. But I was still athletic. So I played football competitively. I played hockey, not competitively, but I played every year. I played soccer competitively. I also played baseball too. So I remained athletic.
Super active.
Yeah, but that was when I started developing some like emotional regulatory behaviors with food. It was around that age. And then in grade 8, I think was the first time I went on a diet. And the first time I went on a diet, it was like, this is what, 2006, 2005 time when I started thinking about it. And my mom bought me these like diet pills, but they were like, they didn't work, thankfully. They were like the diet pills you buy from like a kind of a herbal remedy store. Where, like these will like melt away fat, boost your metabolism, like the kind of marketing ploys we've been seeing forever. And I went on them and I didn't change anything. I just kept eating the way I was. And then I remember I saw this obscure movie, which was not even a good movie. It was called Smart People. Do you remember that?
Why does it sound so familiar? Who's in it?
It was a stacked cast. It was like Sarah Jessica Parker, Elliot Page before he transitioned, Hayden Christensen, and I think, or I'm getting his name wrong, and then Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a stacked cast.
Yeah.
And the premise of the movie was like they were all kind of fucked up in their own way, and then they made a change. They were all very smart and they knew better, but they were all like kind of stuck in these patterns, and they made some changes. But it was a very dry movie. But for some reason, I was watching that movie in the theater, and I was grade 8 at the time, and I was like imagining myself. I was like, I'm gonna finally make this change. I'm gonna lose the weight. And it was really strange because I was a skateboarder at the time, and I kept envisioning myself as like being this like skinny, tall skateboarder, which at the time I was like quite shorter, I was overweight, and I wasn't that good at skating. And I was just like this half of this movie I was just daydreaming about me being like this tall, skinny skateboarder. And then I was like, I'm gonna make this change. And then the day after that, I went on a crazy diet, which was not healthy.
Do you remember what that crazy diet was?
At first, I went through essentially all the fads of dieting within a summer, where I was like just kind of researching and trying new things all the time. So it just started with eating a little bit better, and I was like, oh, I can just restrain a little bit, and this is working quite well. But then it was like, oh, I got to avoid carbs. And then it was, I got to start I was doing this very disordered thing where I had a treadmill in my basement, and I would look at something that I had eaten and it was like 300 calories. Then I would hop on that treadmill and try to burn 300 calories.
Oof.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I'm like 13 at the time.
Yeah, not healthy.
But then I started working out. And so I had this tree in my front yard, and it was just a small tree with an angled branch on it. And a lot of this was informed by movies, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Do you remember the movie Never Back Down?
Dude, holds up to this day. I put it on the background here at the gym, and Stacey's like, oh, you put Never Back Down on. I was like, yeah. And we both looked at the movie, we're like, this still holds up.
Okay, one thing doesn't, though. How are they supposed to be like 16-year-old boys?
No, but that's anything. That's
like
it. Listen,
30-year-old men.
You look at like the OC, One Tree Hill. These guys are 30, 25.
Dude, he was like grade 9 in season 1. He was
What?
going into grade 10, Ben, in OC.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, and he was the oldest one there.
Yeah,
right?
25. He had like traps. He was smoking a dart. I was like, that's not a 15-year-old boy.
It's funny because I think about it, I'm like, yeah, no, not at all.
He had this like aloofness of someone who's been on this planet for 40 years, and I'm like, that's supposed to be a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, his delts were huge.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I didn't question it at all.
Yeah.
As a girl, yeah, you're like, oh, that's 15. That's why other 15 boys are like, dude, I'm not him.
I didn't question it until I became a 15-year-old boy. I looked in the mirror, I was like, I don't look anything like Ryan from the OC.
Yeah, you just hit more Purple K after.
Yeah, I know. I was like, he must have been on all of it.
Maybe. Or he was 25. Or he was 25.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you're watching Never Back Down.
And I saw, remember those classic training montages?
Love them. Still watch it to this day.
Good. Oh my God. And in one of them, he did a pull-up. And I was like, I'm going to do a fucking pull-up.
Yeah.
So I just started practicing on the tree in my front yard. And I couldn't do any, but I would just relentlessly try. To the point that my mom got embarrassed, and she's like, I'm just going to buy you a chin-up bar so you can do this inside.
Practice it, yeah.
So then I turned that into work, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do some pull-ups and some push-ups. You know those door handle pull-ups?
I had them. Yeah.
We have the same story, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
it's true.
So I started doing that, and that was all good. But then I was like, you know what? If working out once a day is good, then working out twice a day is good.
Yeah.
And working out 3 times a day is probably
the best. Solid, right?
And then I through some curation, I was like, working out 4 times a day is probably the best.
Yeah, the more the better.
And you're a trainer, so you know that's what you tell all your clients as well, as
unhealthy.
4 times a day.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6 sometimes. Yeah.
So I would work out. I remember one summer I worked out 4 times a day.
A whole summer?
Yeah, like it was nuts. Like I would wake up, and it was like 20-minute workouts, but I'd wake up and I'd do like this whole routine on the pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, chest presses, bicep curls, and then I would go skateboard for like 2 hours. Then I'd come home, and then I would do the same workout. And then I go skateboard for like 2 hours, and then I come home, and I would do that all day, every day. I lost like 60 pounds from like May until September.
Wow.
And I remember, because this was going into grade 9. So from grade 8 to grade 9, everyone was like, they thought I looked a certain way. By the time I came back into high school, I was like 60 pounds lighter. And And I actually had big arms because all I did was pull-ups. So I was kind of like a skinny beanpole with big arms. And I used to have really long hair to the point like my bangs went past my chin.
Well, you're a skateboarder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then I cut it all off.
Oh, man.
So I walked into high school and everyone was like, who the fuck is that? Like, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what started my fitness journey from there.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. And so how long did you sustain, like, I guess my main question is, like, when did you realize this is unhealthy?
Oh, I think when I was like 25.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because then I went into high school and I played football. I played wide receiver, so you have to maintain being in like decently lean shape for that. But I slowly started gaining back most of the weight that I'd lost. So by the time I was in grade 11, I think I'd gained back everything I'd lost before, but I probably had gained like 20 to 30 pounds of muscle as well. So I was a lot heavier than I'd ever been, but I was also way more muscular. And I'd gone through phases. And this is when the weight cycling just started happening, where it'd be like, I go through a lot of phases of like gaining weight, losing weight. And through high school, I was always kind of like losing weight or gaining weight and really hyper fixating on my body and body image and trying kind of every diet you could. And I was even doing that while I was a trainer for the first like 5-6 years. And it wasn't kind of until maybe 2019 when I started reading a little bit more about like diet culture and the experience of it, because it was mostly something you'd only hear women talk about. There's this idea that like it didn't like body image issues don't really affect men to the same degree, which isn't true. We just don't really talk about it. And like marketing isn't pitched towards us, like how Coke Zero is for men and Diet Coke is for women, like that whole like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they started it because they're like, well, diets are for women, so like guys are less likely to buy it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The packaging's always like black and darker and like more
aggressive.
Yeah. But then I started reading about it more and hearing other men talk about it. I was like, I thought that's just what everyone goes through. Like, but then I realized it's actually not typical to always be like constantly in a dieting, weight cycling position. Then I started realizing, oh, there's a much healthier way to go about this.
So how did you flip, like, I guess what was that aha moment? Like, do you remember like what article, do you remember what video you saw? You're like, maybe I've been doing it a little bit wrong. Or maybe you realize, hey man, I'm not actually being nice to my body.
I can't remember an aha moment, but it was within that year. The big thing was just kind of like talking about it. Because before I would never talk about it. And as you know, like when you have any issues you're struggling with, when you let it marinate in your brain, it only gets worse. And you start to realize, it makes it way bigger than it actually is until you start like leaning on people and like kind of letting people in. So I would go through these like phases for a long time where when I was like leaner and like losing weight and being healthy, I'd feel amazing. But then I would constantly go through this like weight regain because I do a lot of crash diets, and when I gain the weight back, I'd kind of fall back. And I've had a history of mental health problems with like depression, and then I would fall into these like depressive episodes, and I would just kind of avoid being around people. I would just do my work and then go home. But then I wouldn't talk to anyone about it. And then it would just get bad enough that then I would repeat the cycle again. Then I'd start losing weight again. And when I started losing weight again, I'm like, oh, now I'm good. I'm like, all my problems are gone.
Yeah, you're social,
Yeah, and I was like, it wasn't until I started reflecting on the fact that, if I'm only happy and feel okay when I'm losing weight or like lean, I think far too much of my like happiness is tied up in my body image. Like, this can't really be healthy. And then I go down some YouTube rabbit holes, and that's kind of what started, like watching other people talk about it, especially in the fitness industry, and being like, oh, like this is kind of eye-opening that I've been suffering this way for a long time and didn't even realize that I was suffering. I just thought my problem was that I wasn't disciplined enough. I thought the solution was if I just stay lean all the time, then I'll be happy. Like, that's the main problem. But I'm like, I don't know if my happiness should be tied up so much in my body, even
for sure
as a personal trainer, where the expectations are like, you should look a certain way.
What do you think the expectation should be for a trainer, though?
For a trainer, like, as someone who does practice what they preach to a certain degree, like,
because the lamest terms of it is like you wouldn't trust like a skinny chef, right? So
yeah,
what do you think is the honest and real thought process on that? Like, I've always said, like, I don't think a trainer needs to have like an 8-pack or a 12-pack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But they do need to, practice what you preach in the sense of eating veggies and trying to be active, whether that's pickleball or even just walking. If, a little bit of weight training would be ideal.
Yeah.
But what do you think people should look for? Because I think a lot of people, 'cause like a lot of girls, when they want to hire like a girl trainer,
Yeah.
they're like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
All right, I want to look like that. And then with guys, I feel like it's still a little bit the same too.
Yeah.
Right. Like how many times did we before we read like Men's Health? It's like, this is what Chris Hemsworth did, whatever. This is his trainer, and you Google that trainer and you see what he did, and you deep dive into that. So it's like, I feel like it's just, we don't understand what's the right answer to that. I'm curious what you think.
I mean, my perspective on that has changed dramatically because once I started digging more into the research and like actually reading studies, especially with resistance training, body composition, etc., you get like average data sets of like, this group did this and gained X amount. But some studies that have full open access will show you every individual response. And there you see individual responses. And what's interesting about that is you realize that even in the most controlled environments where you are going to a lab, and I guarantee you and I maybe have never trained as hard as people do in a study in a lab. Because you're going to university, you are in an environment where you're with other people, it's supervised, because you're a part of a study. You're not just like, oh, I'm gonna
Just
go
go
to
hit-
the gym,
yeah,
right?
hit a pull
Every
day.
session is like that, and everything is like, and they have to regulate it, so it's like everything's to failure for some. I've never trained that way. I try to train within proximity to failure. But you see, I've read some of these studies where like for 12 weeks, someone who's untrained lost muscle. And someone who's untrained gained like 6 times more muscle than the other person, even though all of their variables are regulated. So a lot of how you end up looking is within a constraint of what your response to strength training is. And I'm someone who's on the privileged side. Like, I was 14 and I was just doing a bunch of pull-ups and I got bigger arms than a lot of clients I've trained who trained harder than I have, or guys my friends who I trained with, and I remember they'd be like, dude, like, what's your secret? Like, why are your arms so big? And I was like, I don't know, we're doing the exact same program.
Yeah.
And we're eating pretty much we're both trying to eat and gain weight. So there is a hyper individual response of like how genetically you are inclined to respond to any sort of stimulus.
That is true. Like, there are some hyper responders to also body parts, right? Like
100%.
There's some people like I don't really train like biceps as much either, because I find like for some weird reason it's just a hyper responder.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're younger, you're hitting arms all the time.
100%.
But even when I train like kickboxing and Muay Thai with my coach, he's like, you gotta stop doing arms.
Yeah.
I'm like, coach, I'm not doing it. He's like, he's like, you gotta stop doing arms. He's like, it's making you slower.
Yeah,
Like with the
it's-
biceps and stuff like that. So, and then even I've had some clients like when it comes to their quads,
Yeah.
hyper responders.
Yeah, I'm a hyper responder with my quads. They just blow up for no reason.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But sorry, to go back to it, when it comes to like what a trainer, what if somebody's listening and they should look at what they should look like as a trainer or preach, what do you think that should be?
I wouldn't even like how they look would come pretty low on the bottom on the totem pole for me, to be honest. Because if I'm looking for a coach, I'm looking for someone who understands the craft and like has an expertise in the field. So like, because there's a lot of shredded ass jacked people who who can't name a single bone in the body, right? And I'm like, well, that person's not going to be a good trainer because they don't actually know how to train people. They know how to train themselves, right? But I would try to look for if they have some sort of like accreditation, right? Like we talked about, like precision nutrition, or like they're a certified coach, or they have a degree in some regard in that field, some experience, some vouch for them would actually be good. If like real humans have been like, I work with this person for a long time, and then when you work with them, and if you were to reach out, like, do you guys have a good connection? Because a huge part of coaching is someone being able to connect with you, right? And it's like
Chemistry has to be there for sure.
I am not for everyone. Like if someone actually, I was at a coffee shop a few weeks ago, and this woman was sitting beside me. She's like, "Oh, you're a trainer at the gym there?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "What's your kind of like vibe?" I was like, "I just like working with like everyday people who like would probably never come into the gym, and I like to make fitness just more enjoyable for them. Where it's like half my clients, I'm like, if they won't work with me, they probably never come in, and I make it less miserable. That's probably most of my clients. I have some who like are getting after it. And I like working with them, but if that would not be my business model. If people are like, it's because then she's like, oh, I was like an elite tennis player. I want to get an elite shape. I was like, not really for me, to be honest. It's not what I enjoy doing. Like, I don't care for that, even though I could do it. But I'm like, you and I are probably not going to connect because she's like looking to grind, and I'm like, that's not really what I do with most of my clients. I try to remove barriers as to like take someone who's elite at what they do and bring out that top edge. Like some coaches are great for that, but they don't work that great with a lot of everyday people. They're like, those are the type of clients who are like, yeah, I tried to go to the gym because I wanted to be a little healthier, and this guy was just screaming at me to like just dig through every rep, and I was like, I'm just trying not to die. I'm like, yeah, like that coach-client dynamic probably doesn't line up too well.
That's very honest of you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would try to pivot for their client, for a potential client. So I appreciate how honest you are with that.
The ones that I've pivoted for are like ones I've worked for a long time, and we have a great connection.
No, there you go.
Yeah, like I have one client right now who's training for High Rocks, and it's funny because like this guy is in way better shape than me.
Okay.
But he doesn't know how to design programs.
Yeah,
He doesn't know how
you have
to
the
coach.
knowledge. You can put a program together.
Yeah.
Way different, right?
I tried to do one of his workouts recently, and I was like, I even told him, I was like, you're fucked. Like, I was like, you are out of your mind, the workouts you're doing right now. And he's like, really? Because he tried to bring a friend.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, because he's training for High Rocks. I was like, okay, bring your friend, but I don't think you understand. Like, for his runs on the High Rocks kilometer, he's just running at 8.5 on the treadmill.
And he's sustaining that?
And he's getting recovery from it.
Oh, he's getting recovery from that. Oh, wow.
I'm like, dude, that's like freak shit. Like, I tried to do it. I was like, just out of curiosity, I was like, oh man, he's built different.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet though. Okay, so your brand revolves around evidence-based fitness and empathy-based coaching. Can you walk me through how those two concepts merge when it comes to your style?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the evidence-based stuff, it is, as I talked about before, having fallen for every fad. I think one of the best way to bullshit proof yourself is to actually understand what it means to be evidence-based and have an understanding of where evidence comes from. Because we always hear things like, you should get 10,000 steps a day, you should do 180 minutes of cardio, of zone 2 cardio per week. Like, these are all solid things. But most of us actually haven't read any research, and it's not our jobs, right? Like, as personal trainers, this is just kind of something I started nerding out about because I found that I was very susceptible to misinformation, but understanding where information comes from and actually understanding like what science is, the limitations of it, and the foundations of it that we base our kind of suggestions off of, getting the source material of that and understanding it helped me tremendously in like being able to critically think about some of the fads I'd fallen for, right? So for example, I think a lot of people have realized like energy balance, right? If you understand the principle of energy balance, like calories in, calories out, will pretty much dictate if you're going to be able to change body size, lose fat, gain fat, whatever. If you understand that, it makes it very hard to fall for the ketos of the world. You can't eat any carbs. It's hard to fall for both if you understand energy balance. Because like, well, if I go low carb, I'm less likely to overeat because it's really hard to just overeat on just avocado and steak all day. But it's not that the carbs themselves are making me fat, it's that if I'm eating too much food, then that's going to contribute to a positive energy balance, which is going to likely lead to weight gain. So you're kind of bullshit proofing yourself from that. So I found that very helpful for myself. But then it also makes it very helpful with whenever you're working with clients where you're understanding what the best evidence we have for suggestions within health, fitness, nutrition, etc. So you can help your clients with that. But where the empathy part comes in is that's kind of the art of coaching. Like there's a science of coaching, like here's the basics we need to understand to build muscle, strength, lose weight, etc. But how do I connect you as a human? Because I can tell you, do 3 sets of 8 to 10 of this program 3 times a week and eat X amount of calories and you'll lose weight. I mean, most people know that if they eat a little better and move more, they'll achieve whatever goal they're working towards. Relatively, depending on the goal. But having someone in your corner who like empathizes with you and understands, like, or has the capacity to try to learn to understand, can make you feel a lot more connected and can help you feel like, okay, I have true support along the way. I don't have like a dictator. I don't have a drill sergeant who's just telling me. I have someone I'm like, shit, like I didn't achieve, like I said I was going to do this, I didn't do it, but my coach is going to yell at me. He's going to help troubleshoot as to like, okay, why didn't we get in the way here? Like, and I've had clients before where like they're like, I didn't tell you because I thought you were gonna, I was ashamed, I thought you were gonna like be disappointed in me. And I found one of the best things that's helped with a lot of clients I've worked with is like letting them know like similar times I've been in that situation. Like I actually remember this, where I came up with this idea or this focus was when I was at Equinox, and I had this client who, it was a Saturday morning. I used to do Saturday morning sessions, which I just don't do anymore. But I remember I came in, she's like, oh, how was your Friday night? And I was like, it was okay. Like, I had a few too many slices of pizza and a few too many beers. Not feeling. I was like, I had probably a few more beers than I should have last night. And I felt I was still being professional. Like I didn't smell like beer. Or like
Yeah, you didn't come in. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I had a few more beers than I wanted, but it was a fun night with my buddies. She's like, she looked at me. She's like, I've been working with trainers for 10 years, and I've never heard one of them admit that they do that. And I was like, I've been a trainer for like 8 years, and trainers are fucking degenerates.
Yeah.
So
they definitely are.
yeah. You've had two types of trainers. You've had liars or people who just were robots. So I don't know if you want to work with either, to be honest. And she's like, that was really helpful. And I was like, huh. I started just being more honest with my clients, and I found, and there's a limit. You can take it obviously because you're still their coach, but I found the more honest I was, and like the more I tried to relate to them, and didn't act like, hey, I'm some beacon of health who goes to bed every night at 9, wakes up to this perfect morning routine, gets every metric and preps every single day. I'm like, no, I'm a fucking human, just like you. And I figured out some ways to help myself do this. And we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for a plan that you can sustain based on what your goals are. And I found that clients started being way more open, way more honest. And a lot of them started realizing, hey, maybe I don't want to be perfect. Like, maybe you just want to be a little healthier.
All right, guys, we'll get back to the podcast, but I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to our sponsors, Northern Hydration. So it's a Canadian company. They sell electrolytes. They have lemon, they have lime, they have orange. My favorite is the orange. It's one of the best flavors in my opinion. But use our discount code GetAlpha10. Other than that, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, it's funny to add on to what you said before, how we basically have the same life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much the exact same. I found the more I talked to my clients about, oh, what are you doing Friday? I'm like, oh, I'm probably gonna, go get some wings and have a beer. Or like, oh, I love that tequila. Like they were like, huh. And then the trust started becoming stronger. Not that it wasn't good before, but it started becoming stronger. And then also they were more honest. And then they started, hopefully, and I think they started realizing like, they're like, I'm just trying to get healthier and stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This huge picture that they had in their head. They're like, oh, well, maybe life is about just being healthier and stronger than you were a year ago, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I think you're absolutely right. The more honest you are about that, the better you are. I have a client who, he was with a trainer who, like, he would eat chicken in the car.
Yeah.
And cold chicken, whatever. And then it's funny because he's like, oh, you like beer? I'm like, yeah, I like beer. And he's like, we talk about, tequila, and then we talk about like sushi, and then we talk about like, he's like, you ever smoked a joint before? I'm like, yeah, of course I have. And he's like, you're cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. But it's funny because it's almost like did we just become friends kind of situation?
Yeah, you want to do karate in the garage?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's one of those things. It's like, huh. And then I do find when you're more honest with your person, like they almost push more for you.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And you almost have more responsibility to double down on like their coaching and double down on who they are and stuff like that. So I do agree with you on that one. I want to go back to earlier on about what you said about the calories in, calories out. What do you think about like women being stuck on like under eating? Because I find that a lot of women want to lose weight, right? But they don't realize they're just under eating. Like they need to eat more.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've helped people who they've given us like what they're eating in a day, and it's like 1,200 calories, and they're hitting like 15,000 steps a day. They're hitting a hard, leg session, whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm not losing weight. It's like, you need more food.
Yeah.
So how do you think we get away from women feeling like that?
Like feeling that they
can't eat more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, how I've often approached that with clients is like, there's many clients I've had who've been that kind of phase where, first of all, our ability to track accurately is horrible. And that's like, it's an interesting study I remember I read a while ago where even dietitians were off by like 300 to 400 calories a day, because it is really tough to get a truly accurate marker of it. Like whenever I track, I'm ballparking, and I'm like, I mean, you could probably add 300 to 400 to that, but it's like I'm using it as some sort of regulator of what I'm actually eating in a day. But one thing that can change that is your perception of hunger can obviously change how much you think you're eating too. So what I find a lot of times happens with people, especially with female clients I've had who've been in that trap, is they'll almost eat nothing all day, Like they'll have tiny breakfast, tiny lunches, and then
Freaking salads.
Yeah.
Salads all day.
just that, and like not even a salad with a lot of dressing or oil. It's like like a fatless salad with a little bit of protein. It's like 200 calories. And it's like, that's not going to make you feel satiated at all. And it's not a lot of food. But then it makes it very, very easy to overeat in the evening without even feeling like you've been overeating. So the amount of times I've like done this with a client where they're like, yeah, it feels like I'm not eating anything. And I've done this myself where like if I graze all day just doing like not really feeling like I'm eating much, but I'm grazing here and there, it'll feel like I've eaten nothing, and then come in the evening I have a big ass meal and I'm like, yeah, I didn't really eat that much today, but I actually ended up eating a lot more than I had originally thought I was eating. That happens sometimes, but the biggest thing is like having big meals in the day that are like nutrient dense, satiating, like full fiber, protein, etc. Like that can change someone's eating habits quite often where they're not starving all the time. Because if you're starving all the time and you have one big meal, but you're now at energy balance because of that big ass meal, you'll still leave that day feeling like I didn't even really eat today, even though you had the same amount as if you were to kind of spread that through the day. Like that's helped a lot of clients that I've worked with. I don't know about your experience with that.
I definitely would agree with you. What are some options you could tell some like the audience, like when they hear nutrient dense, they're like, okay, but what does that mean? What foods? Can you give them some like examples? Or like some some examples of that?
Yeah, like I mean, for example, if you're gonna talk about that salad for lunch, like you can add some rice to it. You can add like whole grain foods that aren't like the devil. There's probably a lot of foods people are avoiding, right? So with breakfast, people will just have like a coffee and a muffin, right? And that's not necessarily the worst thing, but if your goal is like, hey, I want to lose a little bit of weight or I want to get a little bit healthier, like that's going to be maybe 300 to 400 calories for that muffin on average, depending on where you're getting it from, but you're probably not going to be satiated at all from that, right? So you could easily do like some sort of oatmeal with like banana, protein, etc., and it might be the similar amount of energy in it, but it has more nutrients in it. So like nutrient dense would essentially be foods that are going to be less processed. You don't need to avoid all processed foods, but you know, your whole foods, like your fruits, your veggies, your whole grains, your protein sources, anything along those lines that you find works for you. And one thing that can help with clients is like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Or like, for example, like if you do a little bit of oatmeal with a little bit of peanut butter. Peanut butter, as a coach, you know, can be a tricky one because people think they're having...
Wait, you tell people like you can eat peanut butter, like, yeah, I can, and they're just fucking
just
putting
throw that in there.
Like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah. But people get a little stuck on that. We're like, I gotta eat the natural peanut butter. I'm like, natural peanut butter fucking sucks. Like, I would never like, I'm eating it right now because I bought some from Costco.
Yeah.
And I ran out of like the Kraft Smooth, and I was like, yeah, no wonder no one eats this. Like, this is horrible. But like, you can mix some things in there that aren't exactly the most nutrient dense too, but like this works for me. Which, if the alternative is that or a muffin, I'm gonna go with the option A every time, to be honest, where like I'm mixing and matching, and it's also convenient because a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't have time to make this big elaborate breakfast, and it's like, we don't have to. Like, often what I do is just Greek yogurt with some frozen fruit and some protein powder, and I mix it all in because it takes...
That's a solid meal for me.
Dude, it
Stacey
takes 30 seconds.
But
like,
that's like
cares?
my go-to.
Yeah, because it's
He
convenient.
eats like a tub of it.
I eat a tub too. I eat it on an offensive
I
amount.
love yogurt, but it's too much.
Yeah.
I'll go hard.
Yeah.
I'll have like 80 grams of it, 90 grams, like protein in it with.
Okay, I thought you meant
with the protein
I was
powder.
Like, oh, I'm going like 300 grams of yogurt.
Oh, double that
at least.
sometimes. 600 grams sometimes.
Okay, now we're talking. But again, it doesn't have to be this like Instagram curated perfect meal.
No, it looks
that
gross.
takes time. Like it doesn't have to look like it could go on the gram.
Yeah.
It can take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It can be some basic shit, and you're like, oh, this kind of works for me.
So we talked a little bit about empathy before, but have you ever had a client where you had to kind of be a little bit more, give them a little tough love?
Yeah.
Right? And how does that look for you?
I'm not great at it.
No, like in the sense of like you go like full tilt, or great in the way that like that conversation?
It's not that like, so I've had a couple clients who, and this is what I've learned just through working with people, because there's the way that I work best, but then there's some clients that I work well with, but I'm like, ooh, I gotta change my approach a little bit. And as I said before, like if my whole roster of clients was like that, I'm not sure I'd be the best coach for them. But I have some clients that I've been working with for like 10 years. We have such good relationships. And I just remember learning, I was like, oh, this guy needs to be pushed more because he likes it. And I'm like, I don't like it. And like I respond better, not when I'm being yelled at, but when I'm being like encouraged and like feel like I'm being supported and heard and someone knows me. But not everyone works that way. Like everyone does work a little differently. So I got like 2 clients right now who like, one is the one who's doing the high rocks,
Yeah.
and like he likes a little tough love more. And I'm like,
I could tell.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He likes to get crushed. He likes a little more tough love, but he likes. And my job, one thing I was like, how I can kind of blend my style with him is like he'll go overboard. So like I'm like I can reel him in a little bit, but still challenge him. Because I think if someone was like to get like too kind of tough love with him, like he'll push himself farther than his capacity, and then he'll kind of like
The recovery time's longer. He can't
Exactly.
perform the next. Yeah.
But I'm like, I gotta be a little bit more hard with this guy, and that's totally fine. And I've had some clients like that, but it's not my natural place to go to be honest. I think back in the day it was like my first clients that I work with, I was like that, but I think a lot of it came from my own insecurities, my own kind of like bullshit. Where like I remember I had a client who. It was funny. The first client I ever worked with at Good Life, she lost like 60 pounds, and my approach with her was so bad. Like it was drill sergeant, and it worked for the goal. But I set her up. Like I remember, like her and I had a good relationship with her for years. But later in the line, I was like, yeah, there's some things I did that I was not proud of. But I was 19. I don't even know how I was allowed to legally train someone at that point, to be honest.
Yeah, and I also think like at that age, at that time when we were coming up training, that like we didn't really have the best, I say idols, but best figures to like
No.
get into it.
Yeah.
Right? Everything was just strict.
It was bodybuilding information disseminated down to like me training a mother of 3 after work.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I don't
so
know if
different. So
This
different.
matches well.
How do you help people build sustainable habits?
That's a good question.
And do you want to top up?
Oh, a little more.
Maybe a little bit more?
Oh, a little more. Are you gonna drink yours?
Yeah. Sorry, I just asking questions. Go on.
Yeah.
You guys want any more? Tell me when.
Okay, you're good. Yeah. So how I help with clients building sustainable habits is first, like one thing I like to do is try to get an idea of like what my client's lifestyle actually is like. And the classic, like the PN model is like establish ready, willingness, and change. Ready, are you ready, willing, and able, right, for change? And a lot of people aren't all 3, even though they really want to change. Like I really want to change, but I'm not actually like, I might be ready, but I'm not really willing to do what it takes to get there, or I am not able because I don't know how to set up an environment that makes it more likely for me to be able. So someone can be ready, but it's like, okay, well, you're ready to change. Okay, so here's what you have to do. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, for example, I had a few clients start with me this summer who like they wanted weight loss. I was like, okay, cool. Summer is usually a pretty fucking bad time to try to start weight loss.
Yeah.
And then as a coach, these are actually some big wins for me that I love like celebrating. Is a month in, one guy's like, maybe we just focus on lifting for the summer, and then in September when things slow down, then I'll start putting these habits, because every session we were talking about the habits we were trying to apply. He's like, didn't happen. I'm like, well, do you want it to happen? Like, are you willing to do what it takes right now in this time period in summer to achieve the goal that you said you want? It's like, not really. Like, I think in September I'll have less distractions, less social outings, less cottage weekends. Like, there's a lot of parts of his environment that make it really hard.
So much socializing in
100%. And
summer.
I'm like, yeah, like that's actually a good time to set that up. So like establishing if someone's willing, and then like if they're able. So a good example of that is like, hey, do they even know what they need to do? So someone's like, yeah, I'm ready to I'm ready to get in shape. I'm willing to get in shape. And like, I actually have no idea how to, right? So it's not just as simple as, it's like them just coming into the gym twice a week. Like that's going to help prove their overall fitness objectively, especially if they're doing nothing. But it's like, what are the things that get in the way in their lifestyle that they might not even be aware of, right? And I think as coaches and people in the fitness industry, as everyone in this room is, you can forget how the average person might have no idea that, oh, that's actually not good for my goals. I didn't even realize that, right? Where if I wanted to learn something new, I'm totally ignorant to what are some big rocks to move in order to make that a lot easier. Where it's like, some people are like, oh, I guess I should maybe walk a little bit more. Prepping meals is probably a good idea, because eating out all the time, even if it's healthy, like I don't really know what's going in these foods, so it might be more than I really want. And drinking isn't probably the best thing for my goals right now. Not because the drinking alcohol is a poison. It's not great for you, but it does tend to limit it tends to change your behaviors. It tends to reduce your inhibitions. The next day tends to be a little worse. Like there's a spillover effect.
Even your sleep. Your sleep could be...
Yeah, sleep gets a little worse.
It's funny because some people think that like wine will help them sleep at night or whatever, but really...
Help them pass out.
It'll help them pass out. We've seen that. But it really just makes an awful sleep, right? Yeah. Like it actually raises your heart rate. Like it's just not good for you.
And then when you wake up, if you're not as rested, decisions you want to make towards your goals become harder, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Any misconceptions about coaching you would enjoy to challenge that you see today?
That's a good question. I mean, kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier, where like if a misconception I think is like just because someone is in shape, that does mean that they're going to be an amazing coach, right? Like someone, and this transcends just coaching, like coaching and fitness. This is a thing in sports too. Some of the best coaches in the world weren't great at their sport.
Yeah.
Like Bill Belichick, 6-time Super Bowl. Like I played lacrosse and was like a bad college football player. Greg Popovich never played professional basketball. He was maybe one of the best coaches of all time in the NBA. Or like Phil Jackson. He was a mid-bench player in basketball. He's probably the best basketball coach of all time. And Michael Jordan, known not to be a good coach or a good general manager in basketball, because what makes him elite at his sport doesn't actually make him the best at working with others and getting the best out of other people.
Yeah, that's true. That's also with like Wayne Gretzky, right? 100%. He was a great player, or is a great player, but he was not known to be a good coach, right?
He is a great player. He was a great Canadian.
Okay. Not a great Canadian. Until now? Oh, wow. Next question. Do you have any examples of people who succeeded because they chose consistency over intensity?
Ooh.
I always tell our members here, like, consistency over intensity. Always, always, always.
We're talking like famous people or just people I know?
People you know, I guess.
I mean, myself, whenever I've done it.
Yeah.
Because I've done both.
Oh, really? Yeah.
If I go intensity, like, I usually burn out. Like, it might be funny to say because I'm a trainer, but this is the most generally fit and healthy I've been with my working out in my life. But because I haven't been like just obsessing with like, oh, I'm just trying to get shredded, I'm just trying to go hard all the time. It was a really all or nothing mentality I had before, where I'm either going to the gym 6 days a week, and then if I miss 2, I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to go at all. Now I'm like hanging an average of 3 lifting workouts a week and then 1 cardio session. And like I try to play some sort of sport, like whether it's pickleball, I'll play football with my buddy, one of my best friends, we'll toss the football around, like something active. And it's been the most active I've ever been, but I'll admit it's less exciting because I'm not like,
but it's also more consistent, right?
100%. And it's like, there's certain things I'm like, oh, I'm just generally in better shape now, like not even aesthetic wise, but I can run a lot more. My cardio is a lot better. And I've noticed a lot of my clients who've done the same have achieved better results than when they thought before. They're like, oh, I have to be like on or off. Like, so I have one client, he's this guy from Australia, worked together for like 6 years. And what he would typically do was, when he was in town, he'd be like, all right, mate, let's do it 5 days a week. And this guy would just go so fucking hard. And he'd always lose weight, and he'd get like quite lean, and he'd feel like in good shape. And then he'd be like, all right, I'm going on a bender. And he'd just go like party and travel. And then he'd come back, and it'd be the same problem, right? Because the way his lifestyle was set up, he could just take a month off, 2 months off, and he'd go travel around the world. And he'd come back, and the same thing happened. And I was like, and then one time I was like, why don't we just switch this up where we just do 3 times, 2 to 3 times a week, whenever you're in town, not go 5. He's like, he kind of didn't want to. He's like, I don't know, that doesn't sound.
Because the thought of like, okay, like I'm not gonna get where I want, like you get almost anxious about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then what basically we do is when he wasn't like, because part of his job was to socialize. That's why he would kind of go on some of these benders. It was like socializing with clients at these conferences, etc. I was like, when those conferences are in town, why don't we just do 2 times a week? And when they're not, why don't we do 3? And he's like, oh, okay, fine. And we did that for like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And he got in the best shape of his life. And he's like, it's so weird how, he's like, this is so easy, it feels wrong. But not because it's easy, but because in his mind, he relatively thought, I have to be going 5 days a week, doing extra cardio, starving myself. And then I can lose it all and gain it back. And that's what I need to do to maintain my level of fitness. And I'm like, not really, because most of the time, if you average that out, you're doing like 2 times a week. Because for 2 months you're doing 5, and then for 4 months you're doing 0.
That's true.
You're kind of just doing an average of 2.
Yeah.
In a weird way that is less effective in the long run.
Yeah, that is true. Do you find that you have to be careful with like goals and stuff like that for yourself because you're worried? Like, are you worried that your mind would get too into it and not feel balanced? You know what I mean? Like, if you have a goal of like, I want to, I don't know, bench 315. I don't know. Because I find I have to be careful with my goals because I'll fixate on it.
Yeah.
Right? So I have to be, I would say conservative, but super conservative when it comes to things because I just fixate on it too much. So I have to be careful. Do you find you like that with yourself, or?
I would say so, because I'll get super excited about a bunch of goals at the same time, and then I'll crash out and achieve none of them and feel terrible about myself.
Okay, fair.
And it transcends fitness, where it's like, man, I want to bench 300 again, and I'm learning a new language right now. I'm like, I want to be at this level of Spanish by next month, and then I'm reading this book. I'm like, I want to finish 3 books, and then I get way too hyped, and then I don't do enough of any of it, and I'm like, I gotta realize that there's seasons that you're focusing on certain goals, right? And it's like right now is with some of like the work that I'm doing is like a lot of it is I'm doing more like content creation,
killing it,
as you talked about, and that takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can't get too ahead of myself. I want to get really good at it.
Yeah.
I'm better at editing and script writing and all of these things.
Yeah.
But that's going to take away from my ability to put it into other areas. So that's a conversation where I'm constantly having, where it's like, what season am I in right now? And right now that's the season I'm in. But before, I was doing a ton of sessions, and I was like, this is like a heavy client season. Not to say I'm neglecting my clients now, but I'm not as busy because I'm putting more effort into other things. So it kind of goes from there depending on what I'm really focused on.
I totally agree with you. I've read, and I do believe, like, you can truly do anything you've ever wanted, but you can't do everything you've always wanted, right? And I do fully subscribe to the idea of like seasons in life. Before, it was 100% white knuckle, get through everything, get it done. But I do for sure believe in like seasons of things, and I think that's also like healthy. Be like, you know, this is my off season in a sense of like, I'm just gonna read less, just gonna move more, go for runs, whatever. And then, you know, when it's September, we're gonna do this, and something has to like take back a little bit. So I definitely agree with you when it comes to that. How'd you get into precision nutrition?
So there's a woman who works there she was head of the blog. And the gym that I work at is in downtown Toronto, and she was just a member there. I never spoke to her, but I had gotten in this, and one of the things that got me into like doing more evidence-based content was, do you know who Stronger by Science is? There's a guy named Greg Nuckols, a guy named Eric Trexel used to work with them, and they were like, the reason I liked them is they were PhDs in either physiology or sports nutrition or exercise science, but they were also coaches, and they had either competed in bodybuilding or powerlifting. So they were athletes, academics, and coaches.
That's a great combo, though.
Incredible, right? So it's not just in the lab, it's not just in the trenches, it's a lot of everything. And they write these articles that are basically like breakdowns of science and like relevant research, and they even teach you how to read it. They teach you how to understand research. And I really nerded out over this during the pandemic. And I was like, you know what, how I'm going to learn this is I'm going to try to write articles like this. And I had an email list, and I would basically just pick one article, one research paper a week. And sometimes it was papers they've already covered. So what I would do is I would try not to read their paper. I would just read the original source itself, try to break it down, and then I would be like, how did I do compared to how they did? Because I know they're really good at breaking down research.
You're testing yourself there.
Am I in the ballpark?
Yeah.
And I would just write these, and I'd make them little newsletters of my interpretations of how it could fit within, like, if you're a client, like, here's what you might need to know about this, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm getting decent at these now. I feel comfortable. So now I'm going to just write them on my website. So I was writing articles on Medium and on my website, and the amount of work I was putting in these was crazy. And this was such a good lesson for me because I think I had written like 70 articles on my website.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they were like, I was trying to write one a week, and it would probably take around 15 to 20 hours because I'd have to read the research paper, break it down, write the article, edit it, and I was making my own graphics based off of I was putting in the numbers in Canva and on Google Sheets of what the actual graphs were. I was trying to replicate them and put them in the articles, so it was the images of the findings, so it wasn't just text. So I was like understanding statistics better, I was understanding science better, and I just would write one a week selfishly for myself, so I could be like, this is how I'm going to get better at it, because I was like, if I'm just doing this and not creating work out of it, I would feel like I'm not spending time on my business. So it's kind of both. And I was like, 70 in, I'm like, I'm putting like 15 to 20 hours a week into this. It's such a grind. I don't find this is helping much. And then this woman who runs the blog for PN, I put one of the articles on the wall at the gym that I train out of. And she like found it. She's like, oh, that's pretty good. Then she went to my website and she messaged me on Instagram. She goes, hey, I'm looking for a new writer for PN. Like, you write about science really well. Like, do you want to write for us? And I was like, this is like the same week. I was
like, no way.
Fuck this. I'm done. I can't afford to keep doing this because
just
I'm
time.
taking away time from like being with clients and like,
or life in general.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it, but I was like, I'm not getting much out of this. And then she's like, do you want to write for us? We'll pay you. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Solid. Yeah.
And then I wrote a few articles for them, and then essentially what happened was whenever I'd write an article, I'd have to write, she's like, and you're good behind camera too, because I saw your reels, like, if you create 2 reels per article to advertise it, we'll pay you extra for that. And I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then I created more reels, and she was like, I think we got to pick, to your point with season, she's like, we kind of got to pick a lane here. She's like, I think you could be a really good writer, but I think you could be like an excellent content creator. So I think, how do you feel about just doing content for PN, like for reels, for TikToks? And I was like, hell yeah. And ironically, I was in charge of their TikTok for a little bit, and in January I went to Colombia for the whole month, and I was like, I'm gonna do some content there, I'm gonna like get really focused. And January was when the TikTok ban happened in Canada.
Oh, really? Oh man, that sucks.
So I was there. I was like, I'm gonna really just take some time away, because I was studying Spanish too. I was like, I'm gonna do 2 things. I'm gonna practice my Spanish here, and I'm gonna also practice my I'm gonna spend a lot of time like figuring out this TikTok stuff for PN. A weekend, the girl I reported to, she was like, yeah, TikTok's banned in Canada, so we're kind of pivoting. And I was like, all right,
cool.
So now I'm just doing like the Instagram stuff for them.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about body neutrality. Neutrality.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the concept of that.
Have you heard of it before?
No.
Okay. Like, I assume you're aware with like body talk positivity.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, that was an article I wrote for PN, kind of about the concept of body neutrality, because body positivity became a whole thing with like health at every size, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of things I like about those movements. To be honest, I think they can diversify a lot of people's opinions on like what it means to be in a bigger body, where before people inherently meant like, oh, that means you're lazy, you're not working out. And what I found interesting being a coach is like, I've had clients who were in bigger bodies that like, I'm like, they work harder than some of the clients I've had who are just naturally in smaller bodies and don't struggle with weight gain, etc. But the idea of the article was like, how do we not, because body positivity is still body focused. It's about celebrating your body even if it looks a way that society deems isn't ideal. Body neutrality is just trying to divest from body image as being an important part of how you define yourself. And with fitness, it's really tricky, because a lot of fitness is all about that. And that's not good or bad. It just is what it is, but it's not for everyone. And especially for some people who have a history, like myself, who have a history of putting a little bit too much stock of their mental health into how their body looks, and it can really impact their behavior. Like, I've had a history of binge eating, and the more focused I am on my body image, ironically, the more likely I am to fall into old binge eating patterns. And there's a lot of people in fitness who have disordered eating patterns or a history of of eating disorders, that body positivity also doesn't help them too much, because it's still body centric of like, it doesn't matter, I look amazing. Body neutrality is like, because some people with body positivity, someone will say, you should love your body anyways, right? Not everyone loves their body. And if I'm someone who's struggling with my body image, and someone who takes a more body positive approach comes to me and they says, well, you should love all your wrinkles and all your rolls, and you should love them. I'm like, well, I fucking don't.
Yeah.
So that's not really helpful advice.
Yeah.
And if I'm told that I should be positive about it, but I don't feel, then I might feel an extra layer of shame. Like, well, I don't like my body, and I'm told I should like it anyways, and I don't, so now I feel double worse. Neutrality is kind of like, your body is what it is, and you can have whatever feelings you have about it, but how can we try to pull you away from focusing on your body image, how it looks, and how it kind of shapes your worldview. Like, what are some other things we can focus on? And with fitness, there are tons of things we can focus on in fitness that have nothing to do with how our body looks, right? Like performance in the gym, there is some carryover, obviously. Like, you're not going to be a world-class gymnast if you're a heavyweight boxer, but in general, like, there are so many things you could be putting your effort on that are probably going to help your mental health more than being like so body centric. Like, if some of your clients that come to your classes, if they're lifting more, if they're getting better times on their classes, if they're feeling better, these are all things that have nothing to do with how their body looks. But if you're still body centric, you could be achieving all of these goals and still feel like, well, it doesn't really matter because I don't look the way I want it to look. So I'm going to ignore all these other positive effects I've had from working out. And that's a good way to stop working out, because you're like, well, I want it to look a certain way.
Yeah, you almost steal happiness from yourself from doing that, right?
100%. It's like, as you said, the happiness is there. You're just like, I'm going to ignore it because there's this one thing that I'm chasing, that I put every egg that I have in that basket. I'm going to ignore every egg that's outside of these baskets that are still damn good eggs.
Can you share with me 4 steps you suggest for people who are stuck in macro tracking?
And these are people who are stuck in macro tracking but don't want to track anymore?
Yeah, so like too fixated.
Okay, that's a good idea. Like, because it's important to realize if you want to stop tracking or not. If it's becoming a problem, like you're like, I can't even go out unless I'm tracking. I'm thinking about all the time, if I'm eating, I'm thinking about how many calories are in this, and you're finding that's not helping. Like, a couple steps you can do is, instead of just trying to go cold turkey, you can blend. And I've done this. I still track a little bit sometimes. More so if I'm like, I have no idea what's in this. I'll be out of curiosity. And sometimes I fall into some old disorder patterns. Like, I'm not out of the clear of like having bad body image at days, or like being like, I'm really fixated on like my calories right now. Like, that they don't go away, but I'm just better at managing it now. But what you can try to do is first start by blending. So if you find that you're tracking meals that you know the calories of because you've had it 1,000 times, like if you're having your Greek yogurt tub, and you're so fixated and neurotic that you're like, I still need to put this in MyFitnessPal. It's like, okay, I don't need to do that, and realize that when you don't, you're gonna have some shitty feelings about it. Like, you're gonna be like in your head a little bit about it, and that's okay, but you gotta sit with those feelings, because you're like, okay, I'm used to this pattern. This pattern is historically a mechanism of control for me. What else is going on in my life that's making me feel like I need to grasp at this for control again? And then just accept that that meal is probably not going to be the most comfortable, or it might not be the most comfortable, because you're like, hey, I'm kind of getting rid of one of my mechanisms of control here, and that's okay. But then you can just start tracking meals that you have no idea, right? And then from there, you can experiment to, okay, I have no idea what's going to be in this this pizza tonight, but I know that, like, for me, 2 to 3 slices is usually a meal. So I'm just gonna have 3 slices. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna be present. I'm gonna eat slowly, try to assess how I'm feeling, and then go from there. And maybe that's one meal that you have, but then your other meals you do track. And then you can start doing that for more and more meals, build up the confidence and skill from that, so that now you're essentially like building up the resilience and the icky feelings that come with you trying not to track all the time, because at first it's going to be uncomfortable, even though it's uncomfortable to be stuck in that like neurotic space if it's affecting you. Some people it doesn't affect them at all. And then go from there. That's kind of what I would say, kind of like slowly build up the skill of being uncomfortable with the unknown of what's in a meal, because you kind of know too. You just don't have the exact numbers.
Yeah, it's just a number game for you. And if we flip it, people who are trying to get into, because macro tracking can be so daunting for people.
Yeah, it really can.
Like, the first thing people say if they come up and sign with us, they're like, I'm not gonna have to track macros, right? And then they don't know what that means. They don't know what a macro is. You know what I mean? but they're like, I just don't want to do it. I just want to do it. So how can a person start doing that, but in a safe way? Because I feel like now we're very known to the world that like people can get obsessed with things. It's not healthy on your mind, but macro tracking can, if you've done right, can really help people, right?
100%.
So what are in your opinion safe ways to get into tracking macros?
I think a big thing is to be honest with yourself, and some people might not exactly know, but if you have a history of disordered patterns, I wouldn't go to it right away. to be honest, because not that it causes eating disorders, but there's some research that it can exacerbate disordered patterns with people who have a history of it.
Yeah.
So like, and I do this with all my clients, but especially with my like clients that are women, I always ask them if we're going to talk about a scale, I'm like, what's your relationship like with the scale? Because I'm not asking everyone to step on the scale. Some people,
we do the same thing here.
100%. I'm like, what's your relationship with it? Like, oh, I'm good with it. I'm like, okay, hop on it. If like me and that thing go way back and it's not a good relationship, I'm like, I may never ask you to step on it, then that's totally fine. So if you have one of those relationships with your body, with food, with dieting, like, be honest. And if it is one that's not great, then it might not be the first line of defense you go for. Also, it depends on what your goal is, right? It's, if you don't want to change your body composition, you probably don't need to do it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Or if you don't want to change it much, right? A good way to start is if, say, you're like, you know what, I want to make sure I'm getting enough protein. That's a common concern a lot of people have. It can be, okay, well, let's try to track your protein for a day, right? It's easier to do with a scale, to be honest. A food scale is going to be much better than anything else for meals you're making. I'd kind of start with that, especially with meals you're making, using a scale almost as an educational tool of like, okay, this is what a meal with X amount of protein and this amount of calories looks like when I use oil and butter too. Like, because without the oils and butters, like every meal is going to look way different. I would like track that honestly first, where you're not trying to, what's it called? You're not trying to perform well for the test, essentially. We're like, oh, now that I know my coach is looking, I'm going to act like I don't use any of this stuff. Like, no, just do it honestly for a week. Like, track everything you eat that you make. Obviously, it's a little harder when you're out. So you're like, okay, this is actually what I'm eating. Interesting. And try and do that without judgment can be very helpful. If you're like, oh, I'm eating more than I thought I did, and that's totally fine, but now I know what these meals look like. And then what you can try to do is build some meals. So say you're working with a client, you collaborate on some ingredients that are going to be helpful for them, like Greek yogurt, fruit, some oats, rice, vegetables. Here's like sources of protein that tend to be higher, right? And it's like, well, can you make some meals and using your food scale of like, okay, what's like 100 grams of rice? I don't really track vegetables, to be honest.
No, I don't either.
It's just like, what a waste of time.
Negligible, yeah.
It's like, what does 6 ounces of chicken look like? And you do that for like a week or two, and you're like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what 6 ounces look like. Like, I guarantee if you gave me a plan, I'm like, I could tell you loosely what the amount is from doing it so much. That can help build an internal library of like, oh, this is what this is. And then you don't have to track forever from there, to be honest. Because a lot of people don't need to track meticulously.
No, unless it's like their career, or like
100%.
That's a little bit different though, right?
If you're an athlete and you do it for sport, like that's different. Like track everything because that matters.
Yeah.
But for most people, I think the biggest benefit most average people can get is as a learning tool. Like, oh, this is how much is in that. I thought peanut butter was a big source of protein. It's not.
Yeah.
I thought eggs were a really high source of protein. They're like, it's kind of a middle source. It's actually a little more fat than it is protein. This is not good nor bad. It's just interesting for me to know because some people will be like, I had one egg. That was a good amount of protein. It's like, that's like 6 grams. That's actually not too much.
Yeah, that's not much. Have you ever... Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode. I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to one of our sponsors for the podcast, Methylene Blue. You can find this at Paradigm Supplements. We like to use it here at the podcast just because it helps with gut health, immune system, ATP performance. Use code GETALPHA15 for a little bit of money off. Other than that, let's get back to the episode. Ever had a client who has a bad relationship with food or tracking because of a previous trainer? So for example, like we've had some people come over from a different gym and they did, you know how gyms run challenges and stuff like this.
Yeah.
This lady, she's fit. I say fit for her age, but she's fit just in general.
Yeah.
She's looks great. She's super strong. And like she has 4 scales in her house. And when I try to help her, like I like run a program and get her to eat a little bit like more consciously, she's like, I don't want to track because this guy made her feel bad for having like an English muffin with like a little bit of butter. Yeah. And now she's just like,
did she train with me when I was 19?
so she's like, no, absolutely not. So it's frustrating and it's sad because it's like, it's just like you almost, I say this in a nice way, but you almost have to do double the work to break down that person's anxiety over food. Yeah. Have you ever had that situation?
Not from a client working with another coach specifically that I can recall, but just from like, I mean, some from like with doctors or like just in the medical system being pathologized in ways where like, oh, like you just need it. Like a lot of times, and no shade to doctors, but they're not exactly trained in nutrition. A lot of times, like
they're not trained in nutrition at all.
They're just like, hey, you're fat and you need to lose weight. And then the client comes like, I don't know, like I was told this, I wasn't told what to do. My BMI is too high, I don't know what to do. And then you mix that with, because when a doctor tells you, it's a lot more serious. It's not just like, I don't feel good in my body. It's like, oh,
a doctor.
This person has made me feel like I might die. And it's like, and I always ask them, like, well, did you get your blood work? And like, sometimes they have, like I had one client who, he would technically be obese according to BMI, but I was like, okay, well, did you do your blood work, right? All of his blood markers were fine. And I was, and there was a doctor I was working with that was like, yeah, but this is a huge problem. And I was like, no, the BMI is a reflector of other proxies like A1C, fasting glucose, fasting triglycerides, HDL, LDL. Like that can be causal risks for your health. But I'm like, if your BMI is high, but all of your actual markers are fine, go lose weight if you want to. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like maybe you just have to lose, like you would want to lose some body composition, like you get a body composition a little bit better, but that doesn't really mean you're unhealthy.
Yeah, like he was like, yeah, I guess, I don't know why he just told me because my BMI. And I was like, huh, this is interesting. So, but then you mix in people feeling like that they are, like they're obese, overweight according to BMI, mixed with all the information out there of like, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, and whatever fad diet is. I've done damage control with plenty of diets, especially, I mean, you might have some experience with this whenever a new diet comes out and you got to do damage control again, you're like, or a new Netflix documentary comes out and you're like, okay, we got to debunk this one now.
Like, there's been a lot of those.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Biggest Loser documentary that came out?
I did.
What do you
watch
think?
It?
Yeah, I did. What do you think about that?
What did you think about it?
Nothing I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing that surprises me. I do think that they should bring it back in a different way.
Ooh.
I think they should bring it back, but the points and everything should be health metrics.
Like
so like if they, not that I'm sponsored by Whoop, but they should have a Whoop.
Like a Whoop.
Like a Whoop. But like 1 month free. But like I think they should bring it back and like be a year process, and like you get points if your resting heart rate is better. You get points if we like measure your muscle and how much muscle you've gained.
Yeah.
You get points if, let's say, you like, they have the temptations.
Yeah.
Right? How about they go and have food with like a nutritionist or a dietitian or both, and instead they have the nachos but choose to put like chicken on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they should, well, I think it would be interesting if they could figure out a way to measure health metrics opposed to just losing weight.
That's an interesting idea.
Right? And
the coach in me loves that.
But the TV producer of you is boring.
Like,
I would watch it though.
Out of my studio.
I would watch it though.
Yeah, exactly. You would watch it.
I'd be like, Toby, just his resting heart rate went down to 52. This is amazing, Toby. Right? And then the producer like, I need 20 pounds to be less off. That's why I think also like,
it's like doing a love reality TV show where they just healthily communicate with each other.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. But I think that would be crazy. Yeah. I think if they could figure out a way to do it in the sense of like actually, I think because of the documentary and because of the backlash, if it came back as we're doing health, it actually would get some good traction.
The healthiest loser.
The healthiest loser. It's right in itself. It's right in itself. What do you think about it?
The show or
the show? The show. Don't talk about the idea.
I mean, I did enjoy it actually. I thought, because I was biased against it. Like, I'm not hiding my biases. I thought the idea of the show was bad.
Yeah, I feel like we could all agree with this. Yeah.
But I do think they did a decent job at like not being like too biased against it, where they gave the producers a platform to try to like say what they were intending to do with the show. I like that they brought on Bob. I give him credit
100%
because he had the courage to do what Jillian didn't. I mean, I don't know.
She's
the
suing them
backstory,
now, though. Yeah,
I know she went down a weird rabbit hole. But with Bob, like he's like, hey man, like I know the show wasn't popular, and here's what I thought I was doing, and I mean, he had to, through today's lens, seeing some of the highlights and been like, oh, fuck, I did say that. Like,
100%.
Because that was a different time, right? Like, I think when we
drill
act
sergeant time.
Yeah, if we act like Bob and Jillian are the tree and not just the apples that fell from it, we run into some problems, because then we create scapegoats where it's like they're not unique in that situation. There's a lot of trainers who've done the exact same thing. That's what the fitness industry was back then. So like to act like, oh well, they're the problem. Like, no, they're not the problem. They could have been replaced in a second. You find two attractive, fit, LA like drill sergeant trainers, they were a dime a dozen on
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
The fact that he would have known what it would have looked like through today's lens and had the courage to be like, yeah, like here's what I thought I was doing. Still didn't disagree with his approach and everything, but I thought that was interesting. I did like that they talked about kind of the after effects and how they were neglected, and that it really was just they were products, part of a TV show, and that's really all it was. I had an interesting thought about it where I wish the TV producers wouldn't have said things like, we thought we were trying to help people. I don't think that's true. Not because I think they're bad people. I'm like, they're trying to make money. They're a corporation.
It's a show.
It's there to make money. And like, I find it a bit nefarious when corporations of that scale act like they're doing this a service. It's like if Love is Blind would be like, hey, we're here to truly make soulmates. It's like, can you just be fucking honest with me? You're making good ass TV with drama. We're using romance to get there. But please don't try to act like you're selling me something like wholesome.
Yeah.
I think one of the producers could have easily been like, you guys want to come at us, but all we did was hold up a mirror. It's society's problem that we like watching fat people humiliate themselves. Like, what does that say about you guys? Because I made this show, but 10 million people watched, and they couldn't stop tuning in. And I mean, someone else was going to make the show if I didn't, because the opportunity was there, and that's how this market works. There could have been a lot of courage. I would have loved if someone would have owned that and been like, this isn't my fault. This isn't NBC's fault. We exploited it for sure. But there's some larger questions we have to face as a society as to why we really just like watching fat people humiliate themselves, or people who are, and like even outside of The Biggest Loser, people who are desperate for love. We love watching them humiliate themselves. Like, it's part of TV. Why do we like that? I don't know. We could throw a hissy fit about Bob doing what he did, or we could reflect a little bit deeper and be like, why was this such compelling television for so long? And it took that one woman basically being anorexic for anyone to be like, oh, this
was crazy.
A little too far.
Yeah, a lot of too far.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of too far. So I saw that you said, where I am is less important than who I am with.
Where'd you find that?
Talk to me about what that meant for you.
That's a deep cut. Where'd you find that?
Don't worry about it. I'm very good at research. I'm Batman.
Yeah, you are. That was something. So I hadn't traveled a lot in my life, and so I didn't leave North America until last September, and I'm 31. I was 30 when I left North America the first time. So I traveled to like Cuba, all inclusive, Bahamas, beach vacation, and like some places in America, but I hadn't really traveled. And I'd always thought like, man, if I did, like I'd learn so much about myself and be so amazing. And I don't know if this relates to you, if you ever like have these fantasies about the person you wish you could be.
Always.
Always. I would just be so happy if I could do that. And then in the last year and a half, I started like traveling a lot. And I started like, and I kept thinking like, oh, once I see beautiful places in the world, and when I see all these, I'm going to be so amazed. And I remember the first time I went to Vancouver to see one of my buddies who lived up there, and we hiked the Chief in Squamish, BC, and we're standing at this beautiful cliff, and I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like I'm over it. Let's go back down.
Let's go get a beer.
I thought it was going to be amazing, and then this is the first time seeing mountains in my life. And then we went down. We went to the beach later the other day. We met up with some of his friends. Highlight of that trip, after being in BC, seeing mountains, staying on top of this huge cliff, was like we went to dinner to some shitty bar with like 6 friends and had the best night ever. Like that was the highlight of the trip, and I was like, that was kind of interesting. But then when I went to India, so I'm half Indian, my family's from Goa, India. I finally went last year with my sibling and 2 of my best friends who grew up in India as well. And I was like, and in my family, like especially the Goan community in Toronto, like they're very tight. All they do, like they don't even identify as Indian, they identify as Goan. They're like, we are Goan. And like my great-grandmother's buried in the village that we're from. I got to go to that village where we still own a house. It was beautiful. I have cousins down the street. It's amazing. And I remember we went there. We went to North India, where my best friends are from, to their family home. We went to Delhi. We went to Bombay. We went all over. It was amazing. And like the highlight of the trip was I remember one night we were in a hotel room in Bombay with my buddies, my sibling, and a couple of their friends from their hometown, and we're like jumping on the bed like 2 a.m. to like Blink 182. And I was like, that was like the best part of the trip, wasn't seeing like this beautiful country that I had never seen before, that I've heard about for so long. I went to, actually the one place that was like incredible for me was, we went to, the Taj Mahal? Mm-hmm. So there's a building that's a precursor to the Taj Mahal that was built for a different Mughal emperor. We went there, and it's in Delhi, and it's very similar, but it's with red brick. It's stunning, and I remember being like, holy shit, like this is one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. But I like history a lot, so I was kind of into it for that. But the highlight of that trip was just being with my favorite people. And I remember learning there was a time where I hated living in Toronto, but I blamed it on Toronto. But really it was because I didn't have a good community there. I didn't have like my friends that I have now. And now that I have like a really good solid group of friends community there, I'm like, this is the best city ever. It's not. It's riddled with problems like any city is. But I've routinely learned the lesson that like who I'm with is far more important than where I am. And as someone who has a history of fantasizing a lot, that's a good lesson to remember.
To go back to your clients, I want to ask you, how do you help people transition from intuitive eating or mindful eating from tracking?
Ooh.
Right? So like even in the summers, basically once July hits, I don't track.
Yeah.
July, August, I don't track. I try to just eat like some good protein, Greek yogurt.
Yogurt's like, shout out to Greece.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta go there and say thank you. I love your yogurt.
It's true. And then September, like, start tracking again.
Yeah.
But I find that every year I'm getting a little bit better and be like, this makes me feel good, this whatever. But to a new client, that can be a little bit tricky, right? So how do you help a person with that?
So most clients that I've helped with are the ones that I've helped to start tracking. Because I haven't had a client who's come to me that's been tracking a ton, and like, hey, I'm coming to you because I don't want to track anymore. So I haven't had that exact experience. But with clients that I've introduced, like the clients that I've introduced to tracking, it's because they got stuck and they're like, I have no idea what is in the food I'm eating. Especially if they're eating out a lot. It's like, okay, well, this can help you build that internal library of like, what does a meal look like? Right? Like, what does a staple meal with some sort of like carbohydrate, fat, protein, what would that actually look like if you were to factor in, especially like the butters and the oils if you're making them? So I'll help them with that. But then it gets to the point where they're like, I'm kind of good with this. And it is kind of the stuff I talked to before. It's okay, so like, what meals do you don't need to track anymore? Those are the big low-hanging fruit guy. Like, what is the easy thing we can do here? And oftentimes it's like your breakfast and your lunch. Like, that's very often the big one for most people, because people are quite regular with one of those two meals. It's rare, unless someone is an absolute foodie with a ton of time on their hands, that they're just getting exotic with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So like, can we get rid of those meals first? You do that for a little bit, like track your dinner all you want. Let's get one or the other, let's get rid of, or both. And then from there, nothing changes. Because a big thing is there's an internalized fear that like, I'm going to stop tracking and I'm going to lose all my gains. Right? This happens all the time. Or like, I'm going to work out one less time a week and I'm going to lose all my gains. It's a bit of exposure therapy, to be honest, of like, like teaching a client, like, hey, you don't have to do this and you'll still keep pretty much all your progress. And then eventually, if they want to fully stop, once they're really comfortable with like breakfast and lunch, then get rid of the evenings. And then the real test is obviously like challenging on weekends. That's where people get really fixated. Is you slowly, gradually expose yourself to doing it a little bit less and in more trickier situations. And that's going to work for a lot of people, to be honest.
I wanted to ask, what role does language play in nutrition coaching? For like example, like cheat meal, earned meal, or flexible dieting. Like I find like language is really important. Like I never say cheat meal.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you know what I mean? I've totally used the word earned meal, but I say it more as a joke.
Yeah.
But you see how, like, you understand what I mean? There's like different languages can make it feel better. Like, do you think that's healthy to have a language play for a person, to not
100%.
have them have that?
Yeah, I think there's this weird thing sometimes in fitness where I've seen where it's like people will be like, well, it's just words, like it doesn't matter, right? Like you just got to be tough, like sticks and stones type energy. And sometimes that comes, especially with the more like ultra masculine type energy of like, it doesn't matter, like you just kind of do it. It's like, no, words really fucking matter. Like our relationships to words matter a ton, but that's individual for some people. So I've peeled back a little bit on this because I used to be like you, but way worse. Where I'm like, I don't use any sort of language around food that is like moralizing, and I generally still don't, but I had a hard stance on it. But I realized for some people it doesn't affect them to the same degree. But whenever I work with a new client, I start off the approach that I never moralize language, and I always, and what I mean by that is like saying good or bad, right? Like food is just food, right? It's just like, unless it's rotten, it's not bad. It might not be conducive to your goals. I'll use language like that. I'm like, oh, pizza's the fucking best. But if you want to lose weight, it's probably not the most conducive to your goals because it's not that filling per how many calories are in it. Like one slice, I find I can have 10. I can't have a giant bucket of rice, chicken, and veggies though. Like that's a lot more challenging. So that's more conducive to my goals if I want to regulate my energy intake. But I don't really use the words cheat meal either. There's some times I'll be a little more lax with it, but in general, like if you can challenge the words that you're using to describe things, it can be beneficial because a lot of these ideas we have around what food is or isn't is like passed down through media, through people we know, through things we've heard, and then we're like, oh, I guess, I don't know why I thought, like for example, like carbs. Carbs are bad. Like most people don't even know what carbs are. Because then they're like, yeah, I had pasta. I'm like, yeah, pasta with like a bunch of cheese and bacon and oil. I'm like, you had just
and
a
butter
calorie bomb,
and yeah.
right? You actually didn't have carbs. You had kind of everything, and it was delicious because no one's just eating a bucket of rice by itself. Like that's not something I've ever had clients struggle with. But like, rice is part of something that's really delicious, right? Like
it's a good way to reframe it.
Yeah, it's like you put some curry and some butter and some like you take some what's it called, roti. And then you put some like curry with it. Yeah, there's carbs in it, but there's also a ton of fat, and that's what makes it delicious. But it's not like you're just scarfing down white rice by itself, which isn't the best.
That's fair. If you had to build the 5 elements of nutrition, what would they be?
So the 5 elements are there's actually no meaning to the name.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I started this business with my ex-partner, and she had a business called 5 Elements Design because she was an interior designer in Vancouver. Yeah. And then when we started the business, she already had an Instagram page called 5 Elements. And I was like, well, we just turn it into like 5 Elements Coaching. But we were like, it kind of fits with like nutrition, training, recovery, and then it was psychology and goal setting. Those were the 5. But psychology and goal setting are kind of like... We were just really stretching to get that 5th, but we already had the domain name. And I was like, it kind of works. And then her and I broke up, and I bought her out of the company and kept it because she wasn't going to still be in the industry. And now people, they often ask me, like, what's with the 5 elements? I'm like, there actually is nothing to it. It's my ex-girlfriend's name of her interior design business.
Nice. Nice. Okay, well, what's your stance on supplements?
I mean, the only ones I take are creatine. Creatine.
Purple K.
Yeah, Purple K still. I'm never gonna.
You know it came back?
No,
it didn't. It came back, and it came back like I think a year ago, and then the ad was, the original king is back or something like that. I'm like,
why is that so good?
And a part of me was like, worked back then.
I hate marketing.
It's the worst.
But when marketing is good, I hate how much I like it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Crush orange soda?
Yeah.
They came out with a Crush orange soda zero.
Did you like orange crush or cream soda?
Oh, cream soda.
Cream soda.
But they didn't come out with a zero.
Sure.
Yeah. They didn't come out with a zero cream soda. So they came out with an orange Crush zero. But it was Chad Michael Murray doing the
I did say that.
And it was like your old crush, but like like rejuvenated or something. I was like, oh, that's such a good ad.
Yeah, I did see that. That was a good ad.
Yeah. What was it? Was the supplements question?
Supplements. Chad Michael Murray and Orange Crush. So what supplements do you like?
I'm a huge fan of Chad Michael Murray.
That's fair. One Tree Hill was sick.
No, creatine is the main one I take. Caffeine, which is a supplement, people don't think of it as one. And then there's a couple there's like a tier of supplements that work. Caffeine for most things in the gym, like creatine in the gym, are probably one of the best ones. But what's interesting about it, if you like read research on it, is the effect size. Like, do you ever hear the term significant with research? Like, this yields significantly more gains than this. So in the real world, that means a lot. Like, I make significantly more money than you. That means I make a lot more. But in science, that could mean that this group makes $1,000 more per year than this group, and the standard deviations aren't that big. So we make significantly more money than you. But in real terms, we actually don't make that much more. It just means that there's not a strong likelihood that the difference is up to chance. That's all that means. But people use it in research all the time because it's a statistical word, but they use it in the real world in supplement research to say, when subjects took this supplement, they gained significantly more muscle mass. That could actually mean they gained a negligible amount in the real world, but statistically they gained significantly more. So there's what they use to quantify the difference is effect sizes. So it's basically like there's if it's 0.2 to 0.5, 0.2 to 0.5, which I know math is so good on an audio podcast, but that's considered a small effect size. Creatine, some of the best meta-analyses out there, tends to move strength and muscle gain around within like the 0.2 to 0.5 range, maybe 0.4. So it has a small effect size. And that's pretty much the best
you can get
supplement we have.
Yeah. Longest researched.
Yeah, with moving the needle on performance in the gym outside of steroids. And I don't say that to shit on creatine. I love creatine because that's placebo control. That's all these great things. But like, that's how much you can really expect at the best for a supplement that isn't some sort of actual performance enhancing drug to improve. Most of the other ones, especially the ones that don't have a lot of research, like the reason why creatine is it's cheap is because you can't really lie about it. There's so much research. A lot of the new ones, there's really no research on it. And
well, they try to lie about it.
Whatever the hell you want.
Like they say, like micronized, no
that's the
bloating,
best they can do.
no bloating, stuff like that. So that's really it.
There's not many that do a ton. I would go with creatine, caffeine, and then like for your class, do you do conditioning classes?
We do, yeah.
Like sometimes something like a citrulline malate can be helpful, a beta alanine, but that's like specifically contextual to like strength endurance work. You're doing like 25 reps, it might help with your endurance a little bit, but again, probably in that 0.2 range of a small effect size.
Yeah, it's so minuscule how much those supplements really do help, right? And it also depends on what you're doing. Like if you're in a class or you're just weight training, it's negligible. But if you're an athlete and you need that little bit of edge and you're natty, right? You want to have a little bit of alanine. You want to have this to give you a little bit extra, right? Every little bit extra counts. That
matters for like those people.
For sure,
right?
for sure.
For a lot of people, it's majoring in the minors.
Yeah,
right? It's like not that useful, but placebo is very effective.
Super strong.
Like, have you ever read any of the research on placebo? They've done some crazy studies. They do like fake surgery placebos.
That's pretty crazy. What do you mean?
Like you put you under and they give you a scar. You don't know whether you got the real surgery or not. Because I wrote an article.
Who signs up for that?
I mean, maybe only in America where that's the only way you're getting a free surgery.
Sign me up. They're like, you didn't get one actually. You're like, what?
But what's interesting is there was one. I wrote an article on a website called The Power of Placebo, and it was interesting because for a lot of pain research, like people with like chronic back pain, the sham surgery helped like 70% similar to the actual surgery. Because the bigger the intervention, the more the placebo effect will be. If I take a pill, it's a pretty small effect. But there's one study where they gave people like fake steroids, where they injected it, but it was nothing going into them. It was like, it might have been just a liquid, I forget what it was, like a saline. But there wasn't actually testosterone. And these dudes' lifts went through the roof. Because they thought, they're like, it's similar when we went on Purple K when we were younger. It's
for
like,
sure.
They're like, if you injected me with what I thought was steroids and you put a needle in my butt, I'd be like, I'm doing something for real. And these guys' lifts went through the fucking roof.
I think there's also a part of your head, you're like, I don't want to waste the steroids.
100%.
Right?
It's like a scarcity. You're like, this is like a season now. Steroid season.
Steroid season. Do you think AI and apps will ever replace the human side of coaching? Or will empathy always win out?
Never. There's no way. Like,
okay, sure.
Yeah, I am uber confident in that. I think they'll try 100%, but there will be, if there's anything that's going to survive like the AI other than like entry level jobs are going to take a hit for sure. Obviously, if you're doing like a lot of scut work, like unless, especially like in some white collar places where it's just like doing minuscule kind of admin stuff, AI can definitely replace that. But human connection, I don't know if you could ever really replace that, to be honest. Because have you ever talked to an AI chatbot? Like,
I honestly, I talked to her. We were not a fan of AI at all. Like I've seen Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I know what happens, right? Like Aaron loves AI, but we played around with it here and there, but we try to avoid it as much as possible because it creeps out Stacy.
Yeah. It is creepy.
It freaks me out.
It's very creepy.
Teslas, they're all gonna blow up.
Yeah, I don't like the self-driving cars.
No.
Like, I don't care if you tell me that they're safer. Even if they are, I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. I want a man-made fuck up. I don't want a robot.
Man-made.
100%. Yeah.
But I trust myself.
No, I get that.
We were driving to pick up something the other day, and there was a Tesla in front of us, and it stopped in front of a green light.
See, I don't like that. See,
like-
a human would never.
Never.
A human would run. Like, I would rather the Tesla run a red than stop before a green.
Yeah.
Because running a red, there's at least a logical argument of like, I was in a rush.
Or I just didn't really. I'm colorblind.
Yeah. I guess maybe they could say they're colorblind
Yeah.
and see the green, but I don't think it could replace it because
I don't think so either.
our job isn't to just tell people information.
Yeah.
And if it was, like, it'd be a way easier job, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, someone come to like, oh, I need to work out? Oh, dude, thanks. All my problems. Like, no, it's about the relatedness, and I don't think AI could ever get related. I mean, some people have formed relationships with it, but on a mass scale, I don't think it's actually...
I agree. I agree with you. All right, so describe yourself in one word.
I would say annoyingly optimistic.
I mean, I like that. What does alpha mean to you?
It's interesting. Never really thought about alpha, because in fitness, sometimes it can be a little toxic. How that word gets tossed around.
Too much, especially now.
Yeah, I don't actually.
It's a bad time to be an alpha right now.
It really annoys me how it gets tossed
It's
around.
true. I remember the Andrew Tates and all the.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's a bad time to be alpha.
that was one time I thought about it, and I was like, I really hate that they are co-opting what it means to be alpha, because if I were to think of like truly an alpha person, it's someone who is a leader, but also like who looks out for the people who need help the most, right? And the problem with like the Andrew Tates of the world and the alpha people, a lot of the people they go after are the people who have the least power. And I'm like, that's kind of beta as hell to go after people, or like make fun of people, or like make fun of fat people. Like, they're often quite homophobic. I'm like, so you're going after people who are more on the margins of society. When truly an alpha person, I think, would be the ones who would protect people on the margins, like children who have less power, like anyone who would be more on the margins of society. Like, they would be people who would be more empathetic, if anything. But instead, they tend to be more like narcissistic and full of machismo, that I'm like, that's actually not alpha. That's riddled with security. So it is someone who prioritizes themselves on like taking care of the greater good and people who might not have as much, someone who gives back a lot, and someone who shows up for others more than people who are like just obsessed with their own kind of clout, even if they have the aesthetic of alpha as opposed to the actual characteristics.
Love that. Where can they find you? What's the best place to reach you?
I would probably say Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah, because I used to do my podcast, as you know, but now I just don't have the time for it, because sitting in the studio right now, I know how much work goes into this.
Yeah.
And the manpower, you guys got 3 people in here, and it's a wonderful studio. I just didn't have the time to keep up with it, which I enjoy doing it, as you can tell, since I clearly like to talk. But yeah, Instagram is probably the best place to find me.
Yeah. What's your Instagram handle?
It would be Coach_Dylan Da Costa.
Awesome. And that's for sure the best place to reach you?
Yeah, that's probably the best way.
Awesome. You got the best. I have to ask, the Yo Mama video fucking killed me. And then you did the whispers in the back. He's, oh, his mama. I'm like, yo, I have to repost this. I said, I sent it to Stacy. I'm like, this was hilarious.
I really enjoyed making the funny ones, to be honest.
They're bomb.
My posts don't make a ton of sense anymore. They're just kind of random. Where like people will come on and be like, what is this guy doing? I'm like, I'm a personal trainer technically, and I do some online coaching, but I just make them for the vibes now.
Yeah, I love the vibes.
Yeah, that was one I was supposed to make for PN. They're like, it's like it's great.
They're like,
but it
I don't know
doesn't
about the Yo Mama.
They're like, it doesn't go great with our audience. I'm like, can I post this on my own? They're like, hell yeah. And I was like, done.
That's awesome. I love it, man. You do good work. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
If you ever want to come back on, I think we have a lot more stuff to talk about also.
Perfect.
But guys, appreciate you watching or listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Helps out the algorithm and everything. If you're listening or watching on Spotify, make sure to share, make sure to tag. We're doing the best we can to provide you guys amazing episodes. Other than that, we love you. Ciao.